Detours. Brought to you by Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. So, interestingly, Matt, we hooked up with Tony Durham, and I know that you guys have a pretty outstanding program at Midwest Sports. What's the program like, and what's it meant to you?
Oh, it's everything. As soon as I moved back from college, I played wheelchair basketball at the University of Missouri. As soon as I moved back to Kansas City, I got with Tony and a couple of the other guys there that had sports going on, and we just joined together, helped create what is now Midwest Adaptive Sports. Before that, it was just a ski program, but now we have a plethora of different sports that we participate in and also coach.
So basketball, this weekend is all about basketball. What's your classification? How's your team looking?
I'm a Class 2. We're doing pretty good. We just lost this last game, but we'll play for 5th. We came in 5th. Hopefully we'll leave as 5th, so it's a wash, basically.
Yeah, so let's get on to football, because this is pretty interesting. I just learned that, first of all, you were a QB and you were playing football before your injury, and now here you are, you're playing quarterback again for pretty much a world-class team, and the sport's growing.
Yeah, no, I played, like you said, I played throughout my life, and even into college, and then I got hurt lifting weights my junior year in college, and then now having football again, it's been life-changing. It's something that was a void in my life, but now having that sport, but then all the guys I played all these other sports with on my team, it's just a lot of fun. It's a family thing.
So with football, I see something that's particularly rough. Is there some kind of, I have to think that there's some kind of happiness or joy that comes from getting back out there, mixing it up, being able to hit and be hit?
Definitely, yeah. That was one thing I loved. I played strong safety and quarterback, but in college I played both as well. So, I love to hit. I was a physical guy in college, and now having that opportunity again. Basketball is a lot of fun, but it's more of a finesse sport, so it kind of fits my mentality of being able to rough it up a little bit, as well as be finesse and skilled.
So what are some of the significant differences that you see when you try to run like an offensive pattern in a chair versus an able-body environment?
I think from the offensive perspective, it's much easier to complete passes, not because it's kind of a 50-50, so people can't jump. So it's nice when you're throwing over a defender, they can't jump for the ball. Now offensively, it's a little harder to make those passes because the window's smaller, since your guy can't jump as well or go left to right when the ball's coming. So that's kind of the nuance for offense. Defensively, it's about the same as basketball. It's all about chair position, and then the other thing is you can actually make the contact, so you can foot plate somebody. So if you have a size advantage, sometimes you can get away with maybe knocking somebody off of their route.
I'm under the impression, just watching the game and seeing some of how it's played, that offense has to take place more in the air than it does on the ground. With all the chairs just clogging things up, is the offensive game predominantly in the air?
Yeah, it's more of a 7-on-7 game. Linemen are eligible to go out for passes as well. We've had some running plays that have been successful, but it's more of like a misdirection or like a trick play. You're not going to be able to just do like a dive or an ISO where you're just handing the ball up the middle with a fullback or something like that and have something break, because it's just one-hand touch for the tackle. So once it's jumbled up, it's jumbled up.
Do you even remember the days when they played football and it was called the Blister Bowl? It was a parking lot game.
I've heard about it, and when I first got hurt, I saw that on YouTube. And I looked and looked and looked, and I didn't know it was just kind of like a one weekend thing. I thought it was a league like basketball, but it was just, a one tournament kind of deal, and it was gone before I got injured.
So now with the sport as it's evolved, what do you think is going to have to take place in order for it to move forward and become just a bona fide sport where the league is solidified?
Move United's been doing a really good job with Bob Woodruff Foundation and in partnership with the NFL of creating this league. But I think it's going to need to move a little more outside of those organizations, potentially, to get a little bit bigger. Right now, you have to be a part of one of those or be a Move United chapter to have a team. I'm not saying that I want that, but to grow like exponentially like we have here with basketball, I think that might be the next step. But right now it's just a wonderful program. It's a lot of fun to play. They support us tremendously, and I just love playing.
We'd like to take a minute to thank our sponsor, Sports and Spokes magazine. For nearly 50 years, they've produced stories on iconic athletes performing at the top of their game, given generational coverage of sports dating back to the 1970s, and they've shown the way with exciting and timeless magazine cover shots. To stay on top of all the latest news from the world of high-performance adaptive sports, go to sportsandspokes.com. Sports and Spokes, the magazine for wheelchair sports and recreation. I can see where the sport could get particularly expensive. In other words, right now, there's some people playing in a tennis chair, some people playing in a basketball chair, some people playing in maybe a modified rugby chair. I would have to think each particular position might have to have its own style of chair. Has that been talked about?
Not so much the style of chair. I think what we're figuring out, the league's been around 4 years. I think what we're figuring out is kind of the classifications and the positions that work better with those classifications. Height's a huge thing, just like basketball. So, positioning those people correctly where you can get like a mismatch, or, you're having on defense, we have shorter guys with better chair skills rushing the quarterback. And then you've got to combat that with your offensive line of having somebody that might be as quick where they can stop them. And the outside, you want height, right? So like if I've got somebody a lower class, maybe a shorter seating position, but then I've got a 4-5 or somebody with a lot of height, it's a lot easier. Again, it goes back to the jumping ability. I can just throw it up high where that person that's a little bit shorter can't even get to the ball. So
I know the sport is in its infancy right now, but has it even been talked about? Is it even in the communication, the potential of getting it as high as the Paralympics?
I'm on the rules committee, and we haven't had a whole bunch of discussions about that. It has been brought up, and I believe that is a target right now, of getting it in. Just because it's the perfect timing with the 7-on-7 being introduced this year, or not this year, but at LA. I think that's something they're pushing for, but I have no idea if it's actually going to happen.
I don't see any reason why it shouldn't be. I mean, outside of the fact that it isn't going to be an expensive sport. There's a lot of things that have to take place. But likewise, none of these chairs out here in basketball are cheap. None of the rugby chairs are cheap. So I guess there's always room and an open door for anything.
Yeah, I think I believe it's going to happen. I would say it's 50-50 right now, but I'm leaning more 51-49. I believe it will. But we'll see. I think the other thing is just getting other countries to play the game, having competition. Right now, we've got a good, group of people that play good teams. If we put all of our best players, we'd be a really good team, but it's the other countries that would be competing against us to, see if they were able to put a team together and function.
So right now, nationally, it's the Chiefs, it's the Rams, and it's Chicago. How many more teams are coming up? Do you see any teams coming up from underneath in the subculture of the sport?
I would say Dallas is right there. There's 4 teams that are predominantly, but then you've got Tampa that makes a good run at it. They're all good teams, and it's just based on kind of the community, I believe, in that area. If there was a good adaptive community, normally those players can transfer from one sport to the other, and I think that's kind of what you're seeing. But there's a lot of other cities that have been picking it up and getting better.
Worst hit you've ever seen?
This year we had a guy against the Chicago Bears and his wheel flew off. You can check people at the line, and one of our guys likes to do that, and when he hit somebody, their wheel flew off, and it was pretty cool. Actually, I got hit pretty good. A guy from Chicago, we were going for the 2-point conversion. I'm rolling out right, throwing across my body. He shoves me, so my momentum's going this direction, throwing back this way. Both straps broke. I'm watching the ball to see if it's caught. Next thing you know, I'm sitting on the ground, and my chair's over here to my right. That was pretty cool. I haven't been hit like that since probably, stand-up ball.
Didn't hit your back?
No, I didn't hit my head. I was more focused on the pass, but it was just funny to, my chair's not underneath me anymore. And, it was pretty cool. And we completed it, so that was a good thing.